welcome to the Future of Technology webinar presented by Retailbiz in partnership with Klarna. I'm Emily Bensig, editor of Retailbiz and moderator of today's panel. Joining me to discuss the ever-changing retail landscape and the role of technology when trying to stay ahead of the curve are senior executives from the industry. I'd like to welcome them to today's panel. We have Massimo Rosazza, Director of Human Resources and Retail Operations at Videopro. We have Anna Vincent, Market Expansion Lead for Australia and New Zealand at Klarna. We also have Michael Owen, General Manager of Retail at Godfreys. And we have Sanjay Gill, CEO of Purebaby. So thank you all for joining us and welcome to today's webinar.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Emily.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So I think we're all well aware of the impacts of COVID on the retail sector. There's been quite a vast amount of change, but I'd love your thoughts on the key changes that you observed over the last 2 years and what trends you think are here to stay. So I might start off with you, Massimo, and your thoughts on the last 2 years and the key observations that you've taken away.
Sure, thanks, Emily. Look, firstly, obviously with closures and shutdowns that were forced upon us with COVID, we had to pivot to a more of an online platform, which we were fortunate enough to have already. I think customers naturally gravitated to online anyway, being stuck at home, so that wasn't a big challenge. Our challenge was more around logistics, trying to manage the online, because it's one thing to transact online, it's quite another thing to deliver customer expectations. So, there were challenges around supply chain. From a vendor point of view, there were challenges around deliveries from a freight and logistics point of view. And all these things add complications to delivering customer expectations. With our bricks and mortar stores, traditionally people would come in, buy something and take it home. When you transact online, for some people, there was an expectation that timeframes were pre-COVID levels, and then suddenly, these timeframes were pushed out to weeks and sometimes even longer with some things. So it was about reconditioning customer expectations and changing our business model to a more online-based, platform. Having said that, though, what we found was customers were itching to get back to bricks and mortar. So as soon as the floodgates opened and people were allowed to go back into stores, we noticed, a massive uptick in foot traffic, and people were happy to get back out there and experience retail again, which was good. So all of those challenges aside, as a business, we, there were some definite COVID tailwinds for Videopro. Consumer electronics was quite popular, with people working from home and having to entertain themselves, from home. So the whole industry, I think, did well. Our biggest challenge was just about the supply chain and getting enough stock.
And Michael, I might jump over to you now. Did you also see a similar shift in terms of online and physical store split?
Yeah, especially through the lockdown, we did see a big trend towards online, which was not surprising. The challenge for us was about providing that customer that experience online and trying to educate them why they should go up through the hierarchy. We found online it was very price driven, and customers sort of bought the product that was on offer, the advertised line, so to speak, and we wanted to try to explain to them there was value in spending a little bit extra, and that's hard online. We, like a lot of retailers, use the opportunity to challenge ourselves. It wasn't so much about what's the customer doing, it's about what can we do, and trying to be ahead of the curve, be aggressive in that space. Still haven't got there, but we have come a long way in a short period of time under the challenges of the logistics, getting the stock, customers' expectation, delivery, and then following up and keeping engaged with the customer after their initial purchase is what we're working on now. Once lockdown was finished, we did receive a big uplift in footfall in our bricks and mortar stores, which was great. What we did find though, part of what we tried to do in Godfreys is provide the demonstration, provide the experience. We really pride ourselves on, we're not just box sellers. We do provide the customer the why you should purchase the particular product, and really try to be problem solving. Customers buy solutions, they don't buy features. But we found the customers were more informed. When they did come into the stores, they did come in with a purpose. They were buying a particular product, and when our in-store time did drop, we probably saw customers would spend an extra 4 or 5 minutes less per visit in stores than pre-COVID. So we're seeing that time in stores go back up to pre-COVID numbers, but we have done a lot of work within stores to make that occur. And we also found that customers were more brand focused. I think in our stores they were very much coming in, even if it wasn't for a product, they had a lot higher brand loyalty than previous, which isn't a problem, but it was just something that we did notice. So, but overall, we fared pretty well through all the challenges over the last 2 years. Staffing is still a challenge. It's the right staff, the right time. It's training our people as well. So I think that's our focus over the next 6 months, making sure that our team members are trained adequate to provide the customer the best experience.
And Sanjay, what was your experience like for Purebaby?
Thank you, Emily. Look, it's obviously going back memory lane 2 years ago, around about this time, we were all on a very steep learning curve. Lucky for our business, our product, which is baby wear, is a very digital friendly product because there is less trying or returns and all that. So our customer pivoted and our brand pivoted very strongly to digital. We saw like a huge increase in not only sales but in terms of customers discovering the brand online, but then coming into store. So what used to happen was a consumer will be walking past the store, discover the brand, and then say, oh, I'll also have a look online. It's happening the other way around. They are discovering the brand through their popular social media website, then engaging with the brand and coming into store just to validate. We saw a huge number of customers come into store after the lockdowns just to touch and feel the brand, especially the new parents. So in summary, for Purebaby, the digital shift has been amazing. We are holding on to those customers. As you can see from the market results, a lot of brands have not been able to hold on to the customer that came to them during the lockdown. Our sales are still very strong and we're still holding on to the customer. So for us, it's been a complete digital pivot and we are very, very happy with the results.
And Anna, for you, I know Klarna works with a large range of retailers in Australia and New Zealand and all over the world. What has been your perspective on the last 2 years and what have been the key trends that Klarna has noticed?
Yeah, so Klarna actually launched in Australia almost 2 years ago, just as we went into lockdown. And so I think we experienced the COVID journey with retailers and partners in a similar sort of, in the same sort of way, in terms of like we launched and we were ready for a big noise, and then we had to sort of cope with those changes as well. And I think in the Australian expansion space, and New Zealand too, we've had to learn out here that that our like expansion approach needs to be slightly different because of COVID times and also the maturities of the market. And so we've really spent the last 2 years working with partners and retailers to understand the sort of unique problem spaces that they are facing into. And we obviously have our payment products, and that's one problem space we have solved for a while. But over the last 2 years, we've moved much more into this shopping ecosystem space and helping. We've acquired companies to help our partners and retailers with much more of the media platforms, sort of introducing them to new customers through those acquisitions. So I think in the same way we have had to pivot to support like our partners and retailers and moving customers to being able to experience the online experience more than the in-store. So really bringing that in-store experience online.
So I guess on to the next question. I'd love your thoughts about, the future of retail. Now we're emerging from COVID. Obviously there is, this new COVID normal. We're not quite yet back to where we were, before 2020. But what further changes do you expect to see from the retail landscape? What will be the key shifts moving forward, and what should retailers really be aware of? And I think I may start with you, Michael, if you could jump in and just share your thoughts.
Look, I think it's not too dissimilar what I touched on earlier. I think brand loyalty, we're finding that to be very, very strong, but also the experience within stores. I think if you invite your customer into your store to come and visit you need to provide them with the best experience. And we're starting that here at Godfreys. Our network fleet is very old and tired, as in our CapEx. We've neglected CapEx over the last probably 10 years. So we're doing a huge rollout of new stores. That's going to underpin our new Godfreys, and why we should be front of mind within our stores. And we've already done a couple. We've done a new store in Castle Hill in Sydney. We're Moorabbin in here in Melbourne, and Chermside in Brisbane. And the responses from our customers has been very, very positive. And we're finding that we're attracting new customers we haven't attracted previously, because they're seeing the difference, especially in Chermside and Castle Hill, where they are in high. A lot of eyes are seeing the new store, and we're very proud of that. And it's showing in our numbers as well. The poster fit out, we've had very big. A very big uplift in sales, and it's around that tech. And believe it or not, there is tech in vacuums. The robot space and the stick vase space, and little things like we're demonstrating the robots right out the front of the store. I encourage everyone to look at the 2 stores that I just mentioned. Is that technology, that aspirational purchase of a robot is really bringing customers into our stores, and then the training and development we're doing with our team members to capture that and give that experience is really the missing piece for us at the moment. So over the next 2 years, we're doing a huge rollout to provide that experience, and I think also that allows us to reposition ourselves in the market. It gives us another a lever to market to. So it's the experience piece.
And Massimo, are you finding the same, that the in-store experience will really be a focus for Videopro moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Just to echo what Michael was saying, I think the customer experience is very much the most important aspect of attracting and retaining customers. Providing that visceral experience in store when people are buying audio visual, they want to hear it, they want to see it. Looking at something online is one thing, and we certainly expect more and more people to transact and buy online, but it's the experience in stores that's really, setting us apart. We've got, home theatre rooms where we can take people in there and show them and have them listen to their favourite piece of music and movies, which is something you just can't experience online. And just as a differentiator, we very much want customers to experience the product and provide solutions. Again, just to echo what Michael was saying around solutions-based, options for customers rather than just, selling boxes. So that's a big part of it. But also, aside from the bricks and mortar experience, there's the experience online as well. So convenience, for everything from payment options to returns processes, that whole experience online, I think, is the difference between, building that customer engagement and loyalty. So that's a big push for us.
And Sanjay, over to you. What areas of the business will Purebaby be investing in moving forward?
Look, I'll echo Michael and Massimo's views on that. I mean, retail needs to move into experiential retail. We've held that view for the past 5 years. COVID has accelerated that change, that the consumers will discover your brand digitally, but if you can bring them into store to highlight what's good about your brand, what's good about your product. In our retail space, parents starting the parenting journey, as we call it, rather than just having a baby, it's a parenting journey. It's almost a full-time profession. If we can engage with them from that experiential retail point of view, and then have the omni-channel working for us, so they're discovering the brand, they could be placing an order, but returns, click and collect. What we are finding is that the people who are coming into retail stores, they're committed shoppers. So although our retail traffic may be down, our actual conversion rate is up, because people who are taking that time to come into retail stores, they're actually there to buy. There's just the last piece of validation for them, how the garment looks on the baby, or if that particular color or fabric is what they really wanted. So we really very excited about the experiential retail. The major roadblock for us is, and I will say that, is the lack of support from shopping center. Most of our shops are in shopping centers, and although they're very happy to support a multinational big brand and pay millions of dollars for their store, a small to medium-sized business doesn't get that support. So it's a huge investment for us to go into shopping centers, invest into an experiential retail store, help them get the traffic into their shopping center without getting anything in return. So I suppose it's a big decision for the business that we want to plow that much amount of money in an experiential retail store, or should we look at more digital opportunities? So for me, the big opportunities are about bringing retail and online closer. But how do we do that in experiential retail? There is a capital expenditure issue there.
And Anna, what about for Klarna? Where do you see the future for the retail sector?
Yeah, I think Klarna's research reflects a lot of the comments that have already been said, that customers are really enjoying some of the returning to in-store experience, with people really liking to be able to physically hold the product before they buy it or see it in person. And at the moment, we can't replace that online yet, even though technology is evolving to help those conversations. I think the comparison piece, so like where we've become brand loyal, maybe we can then go back in store and we can see other options in play. So I think that is also something that like customers are keen to get back into, and we've seen that through, like, I think the stats I've got are that 53% of shoppers say it's easier to browse in store, and that 33% like to compare products in person rather than online, and they find that easier. But I think what's going to become really interesting is how brands elevate the in-store experience to really get people in store and make it worthwhile, but then also bring some of that in-store experience online. And we're seeing already technology like virtual shopping and having influencers help describe products really start to like take away that need to be in store necessarily. So I think there's heaps of exciting stuff to come through technology in the next couple of years.
Now that's a perfect segue into the next topic that I'd love to dive a little bit deeper into, which is technology and how that's helping, retailers thrive in this post-pandemic environment. So I would love to hear about how you've been leveraging technology, what changes you've made, whether that is in store or online or just the broader business overall. So perhaps Sanjay, I'll start with you.
Thank you, Emily. Look, we're not a very high-tech business because our product is baby wear, but in regards to the role that technology is playing, we have incorporated, or I should say, our website is now the e-commerce store is now the biggest driver. So building our tech stack, keeping up with the customer expectation in regards to how they like to shop, how easy they would like to shop, but also then from a back-end point of view, how quickly can we get the product out? So we are investing a lot of money in our back-end systems, including RFID tagging of our products so that, our stock is very much on the spot. We know exactly what sort of stock and where we are holding it. We've incorporated ship from store into our fulfillment model. So that means on big days when your 3PL is overwhelmed with orders, your retail network kicks in and they can start shipping the orders out. And I must add, and I've not been paid for this, but a big fan of Klarna, and I think super apps like Klarna will help further drive a customer experience. I've been very keenly watching Klarna's acquisition of Hero and some of these live streaming apps coming through. So I think that will further play a part in bridging that gap that the consumer can be sitting at home, but they're getting a retail experience coming through, or they could be in store, but they can still see what the online experience may be. So emergence of retail and online.
And Massimo, I'll throw over to you. What technology, sort of shifts have been seen in the Videopro business, or is there any plans to further integrate technology in store or online in the months ahead?
Yeah, so, moving towards an omni-channel model where customers can physically look at product and experience product in store and purchase online, increasing the convenience factor. So making it more convenient to do things like click and collect, better using technology for supply chain as well and logistics. Keeping our customers informed around orders. Payment portals have changed dramatically in the last couple of years as well. So again, just that whole convenience, making it easier for customers to transact, and also building in trust, because I think that's a key component that often gets overlooked. And we now have technology to get feedback from customers, to ask them how we went, and that's our model to constantly improve. So, apart from the products themselves, because we're a technology company and we sell technology, the technology behind the scenes is what's really driving that customer experience. So that's what we're seeing.
And Michael, what has it been like for Godfreys? Has there been any key changes to your technology?
There has. I think the previous comment comment about building trust is something we're working on as well. we have a strong, loyal customer base of existing customers. I think we are struggling at times to attract new customers, and you'd actually put down, is that a trust issue? And I'm always challenging the marketing team. I want to see more prams in our stores. I want to see that new generation coming through. Because I think if we're seeing that younger generation, we're seeing prams, our omni-channels, our technologies hitting the market and being received by the market we're looking for. Also talked about click and collect, where we have seen we talked about online sales. Our click and collect avenue has also grown rapidly as well. And going back to the previous comment around where we want to give the customer experience, even when they're coming to pick up their purchase click and collect, we're offering a demonstration. We want to show them how it puts together. Some vacuums do need to put together. We'll put it together for you now. We'll show you. Not everyone wants to do weed and menu, and we're even finding customers are enjoying that. Even when they decline it because they want to move on, they're very appreciative of the offer. For that click and collect. Also, we're providing and doing demonstrations online, so you can actually click onto a particular product, and our training team are doing demonstrations and really focusing on the benefits for certain situations rather than the features. And we're finding the response has been very good as well. A little side note that we do find a particular salesperson gets better hits, so that's good. I don't know if his demonstrations are better, but his products seem to sell quite well. But and I think that gives, if customers are searching for price, which they do online at times, I think if we can have them stop on our product for a bit longer, see the demonstration, they actually then get emotionally attached. They see the person demonstrating, they see it's Godfreys, and we're working on that. That's part of, we've only started that, only green shoots, but we really think, and then that can also help with our bricks and mortar. We're even finding that customers, when they come into the bricks and mortar store, they've seen the demonstration, and they do mention, "Oh, I saw that online. I saw that demonstration. It was good." So yeah, it's again, demonstration, engaging, building trust, and trying to generate a customer base that we haven't landed with previously.
And Anna, it was previously mentioned about Klarna's acquisition of Hero. Can you tell us a bit more about that and any other key announcements that may sort of feed into that technology side of things?
Yeah, I think we need to put Sanjay on the payroll for the promo. But very much our research shows that customers are interested in this virtual shopping technology like Hero that brings that, because we had to adapt to being at home, right? So then we have had to adapt to trying to work out engaging in technology much faster than traditionally we probably would have. And things like virtual shopping, which you can sit on your couch and you can FaceTime a shop assistant and you can have that in-store experience from home, starts to really appeal to customers. Or, for example, live streaming with Instagram influencers, so customers can see what the product looks like on. And I think retailers leaning into this, and the Godfreys example was perfect, that emotional connection, because suddenly you feel like that you owe some loyalty to that person that's showing you the demonstration, or you have a connection with them, which is much stronger than if you are just browsing online and then you can quickly exit out of it. So that's how you can get that engagement from your couch. And for retailers too, how they can get shop assistants that are in store, best utilizing their time to be engaging with customers as well. So I guess it's about being where your customers are when your customers want you to be there, which is technology that Klarna has got with the virtual shopping and starting to look into the influencer platform stuff as well.
Now, payments has been quite a hot topic over the last 2 years and even pre-COVID. But I'd love to hear about what has been the biggest changes in the payment space, what other observations you have around, the growing sector, and how you've shifted your own payment portals or payment technology to help meet these, changing customer needs. Massimo, I'll start off with you.
Yeah, sure. Look, naturally, we've had to move with the times, and the buy now, pay later model gained in popularity over the last couple of years. I noticed that it's dropped off a little bit in the last quarter, but it's certainly something that we had to incorporate into our payment options. Obviously, credit card payments went up as opposed to cash around COVID and lockdowns. That's pretty obvious, but the trend seems to be that credit card payments are still something that's going to continue to grow. One thing that we've found that could be a bit of a challenge around cash flow is, having providers hold payment for a period of time, and that's third-party providers are almost becoming like banks, where they hold money for a number of days before settlement. So that's something to factor into with cash flow. It's just something that we've had to consider as well. So they're the biggest changes, I guess, that we've experienced in the last couple of years.
And Michael, what about you and for Godfreys? What have been the shifts in the payment sector?
I think it's just it's allowed customers. What I noticed, our customers are very open when they enter the store. Do you take particular brands? And we take all brands, and again, very loyal to certain ones. And where it's helped us is that customers are then very open around they want to spend more. We found that the basket size has definitely increased, and customers are very savvy of what they can afford. It's become second nature to them, and we tend to find that certain customers do utilize these payments for big purchases. And previously, when that buy now, pay later come in, we found the $200 was the hurdle. We found that now it's not. It's very open. We put $2,000 products on buy now, pay later. I would have said 2 years ago that would not have occurred. So we rode the wave, to be honest. I think like a lot of retailers, and the brands themselves did a lot of that selling for the retailers. And nowadays it's very easy. It's just scanning a customer's phone and it goes through your POS system. It's no ringing up. There's no filling out paper. There's no questions. It's very seamless.
And Anna, what about for Klarna as such a big part of the payment sector? What would be your thoughts on the landscape?
Yeah, I think, we know our customers really value flexible payment options, and we know our retailers really value having options for their customers on checkout. And I think the buy now, pay later space in Australia, it's the most mature market globally. And it's almost becoming like a commoditized sort of space around, and we're starting to see payment providers differentiate themselves slightly differently. With Klarna moving more into this shopping ecosystem space, with offering this technology to help conversion earlier and later in the funnel. But I think also looking at ways that we're starting to innovate, which is this great thing about our competition when it gets to this point. And the Klarna card, I think the digital card that lets customers buy now, pay later anywhere is an example of us being able to give customers more choice for payments and helping retailers have more sales. And as much as we're late to the buy now, pay later market in Australia, this just gives us this opportunity. Our customers have been able to use this digital card at over 25,000 merchants in Australia without us needing to necessarily be integrated. So I think it's this piece now where competition gets interesting because competitors start innovating faster. And looking at ways that they can differentiate themselves from each other.
And Sanjay, what about for the Purebaby business? How has payments affected the way that you operate?
Look, as we pivoted digitally, what we found was a lot of our consumers or our online customers we're using buy now, pay later, and also PayPal. Having said that, our demographic, what my understanding is, doesn't use buy now, pay later or PayPal for any other reason of cash flow. It's more the convenience rather than punching in your credit card details. I think they find it much easier to do so. So for us, the biggest change we've seen is this convenience factor coming in, whether in store or online. If they can do it with a tap, or as Michael said, with a phone number, and the transaction is done, they're very keen to do that. But I think it's more for our customer, it's more convenience than cash flow. And again, going back to my earlier comment, I think the biggest the payment change is the emergence of the providers like Klarna trying to drive traffic. So the brand discovery can also happen through your payment provider, like Afterpay doing an Afterpay day that's driving sales towards you as a brand, as a participating brand. So again, in summary, I think the buy now, pay later in different forms. I mean, Klarna is different from Afterpay. Afterpay is different from Zip, but them coming in as a brand discovery rather than a payment provider.
So to close off the discussion, it'd be great to hear just one quick key takeaway from what we've talked about, or perhaps another topic of interest, but just in 30 seconds or less, just key takeaway for anyone that's tuning in. And Michael, I'll start off with you.
Retail's retail, and we're all facing the same challenges. I think that our customer, we're trying to generate more customers, we're trying to reward loyalty, and we're trying to provide the best customer experience we can. And I think it doesn't matter what sector you're in.
What about from you, Massimo?
Yeah, look, for us, as I mentioned earlier, customer experience and convenience is the hot topic, and I think it's something that customers are becoming more demanding of, and we need to meet the market, and we use technology to get there, and just provide that interaction.
And Anna, over to you.
Yeah, I think mine is that we've had to adapt and move really quickly over the last 2 years, but we shouldn't slow down now just because maybe we're starting to see normality sort of return, because there's heaps of exciting things that we can embrace for the retail space.
And Sanjay?
For us, it's digital first, and anything we're doing for us, and I think for anyone in the market space, will be digital first, and that then now is coming into, or has been coming into for the past 3 years, how we design our product. So our designers used to design a product that will thinking how it will look on the floor, how the ranging will be done. We're now designing products, keeping how it will look digitally, how it will actually be presented when it's in a video online. So for us, it's everything we're doing is digital first.
Well, thank you to all of our panelists and everyone who has tuned in to the Retail Technology webinar presented by Retailbiz in partnership with Klarna. To keep up to date with the latest news impacting the retail industry, visit retailbiz.com.au, and for more information on retail payment options, visit klarna.com.au. Thank you once again, and we will see you next time.